Oh, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mr. Flanagan.
I love doing that. I love the sing-song. I have often thought that Hollywood has not served us well because they have created this whole concept that heroes have to be big and muscle-bound and hello, I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger, come and crush your car. I thought it would be nice to create a hero who wasn't big. And in fact, we've come up with a line on the Ranger's Apprentice which says heroes come in all shapes and sizes. And I thought it would be nice to have a hero who was small. And I did this because my son Mike was small. I decided I'd write some stories for Mike to make him feel better about it. He didn't like being small. Right? If I said to him, I've written some stories about the guy who's small because I want you to feel better about yourself, he'd go, boring. So I lied to him. And I said, I'm writing a set of stories for kids, would you read them and see if you think kids might like it? He said, oh, Will is told, no, you can't be a knight, you're too small. We're going to make you a ranger. Rangers sort of like secret agents, I guess. They had bows and they had cloaks. They learned about camouflage. They knew if they had a camouflage cloak that sort of would blend into the background and they just wrapped it around themselves and stayed perfectly still, people usually wouldn't see them. And that led to people thinking that they could disappear, which was not true. The people thought, ooh, they're magicians, and so people were kind of scared of them. And when Will goes in to be apprentice to this ranger called Holt, he's a little bit scared too. But then he gets this terrific little horse called Tug, and he gets his own bow, and he gets his own knives, and he gets to learn about, there they go again, bumping each other. And he gets to learn, all about skills, and he gets to be a spy, and he learns how to move without being seen, and he gets fascinated by it. And the story goes on from there. He becomes a hero. And I think I said before, we had a line about the books that said heroes come in all shapes and sizes. And as the series of books progresses, he teams up with another guy who is big and powerful, and he is a knight. And they use their different skills together. And then they get a third member, a girl called Evangeline, who's very intelligent, feisty. So I wanted to make the point that there is no ideal body type. So I had that in there. So I had all this stuff in these stories. And I wrote them for Mike. And he enjoyed them. And in fact, the fourth week he came in and asked for his story. He said, oh, this is great. He's starting to enjoy it. And I did them for 5 months. I did 20 stories. And then I put them away. Put them away for about, I think it was about 12, 13 years. And I should say that I've always been a writer. I was writing in advertising and television and corporate work in all this time. But what I wanted to do was write books. And so in my spare time I was writing books and sending them off to get them published and getting rejection letters, and boy, is that fun. You get so happy when that happens. 2 years, you spend all your spare time writing a book and somebody says they're not going to publish it. How happy do you think that made me? Yes, you're right. It used to be so annoying. And I find it ironic that the stories I sent out that I didn't intend to be a book for the first year of the day, she rang me and told me they were going to be published. And that was just, I was over the moon, because what it meant was they were going to be published in America. They were published here first, but then in America. And America is such a huge market that if you can get your books published there, you know you're going to make a decent living. So you can give up doing other work. And the day I found out that I was going to be published in America meant I could just say, all I do for a living now is write books. And since I love doing it, I couldn't help it. I was just so overjoyed. I couldn't believe they didn't know about this fantastic thing that had just happened to me. And I was just so carried away that people had come to it. And I just couldn't help it. It would just, I'd suddenly just go, and people got frightened because you don't do that in the war. You're not supposed to scare people. So they started bringing security. They were saying, there's a loon walking around the mall and he's laughing and he must be stopped. We don't have laughing in the mall. And it went on like I'd be in the car. And when you're driving a car and you come to a red light, you pull up and your car goes into neutral and so does your brain. You sit like this. And if another car pulls up alongside you, the other driver does the same thing. And he looks at you. And you look back at him. And then the lights change and you're about to drive off. Well, I'd be sitting there thinking, and a car would pull up alongside me and the guy would go. And I would look at him and I would go. Only short stories that I wrote for Mike have become now, well, it started off, there were 4 books, there are now 11, and I'm working on the 12th. And since I wrote that first series, I brought out a second series set in the same world with different characters but a lot of the same backgrounds, and that's called The Brother Band. And they're selling well. All the books have made it to the New York Times bestseller list, which is a really nice mark of success. And we've worked out recently that we've sold a total of Range of Apprentice around the world, 7.5 million copies. Yeah, I was startled to hear that. I had no idea. And we're sold in, I think it's 20 countries in 25 countries in 20 languages. They're in Danish and Swedish and Dutch and German. In Germany they're called Kraken. And again, you can probably see that I'm enjoying myself. Every now and again I think about this thing I nearly did. I nearly gave up. It was 2 months before the agent told me the books had been sold. And I had another book, not one of the Range of Apprentice ones, rejected. Over the years I've had about 8 or 9 books. I never have written. This one was rejected, and it really has nothing to do with whether your book's any good or not. They might have just published 3 books like this, you know, but all you think is, they didn't like it, they don't like me, and you take it personally. And I thought, I'm sick of this. I don't need it. I tried, it hasn't worked, I give up. And my agent rang and said, you know, that's bad luck. I said, look, Rachel, don't worry, I quit. I'm not trying to sell books anymore. And she went ballistic at me. She was furious. She's a very soft-spoken, lovely, beautiful, tall English girl who suddenly was screaming at me down the phone saying, "You're whinging! You're whining! You're feeling sorry for yourself! Stop it at once, all right!" And she snapped. Oh, she was like that. It was like and then she said something very, she said, "Don't give up. You're a good writer, we'll get there."